Thanks very much for joining us here in this Heineken Cup preview show. I'm Gerard Gilroy. With me, two legends of the game. We have Malcolm O'Kelly and Bernard Jackman to preview the Heineken Cup game against Leicester this weekend. Lads, you're both very welcome. I'm going to ask you the simplest question. Who's going to win, Bernard?
I think Leinster will win. I think this is the final. To be honest, I think the two best teams are playing this weekend. You know, if you base it on current form, and I think it'll be a tight game. But I think Leinster just do just enough.
Yeah, I have this slight sense of trepidation ahead of this game. It's Leicester. That's the kind of thing that's in the back of my head.
Yeah,
you know?
That's the thing. You know, Leicester, great cup side, top of the English Premiership, really solid outfit, and great competitors. And it's going to be a massive challenge to Leinster. But I think Leinster are going to win too.
Why are Leicester such a great cup side? What's the thing about them?
I think the Irish provinces wouldn't, or they're probably the only team the Irish province really respect in Europe. You know, they've won it twice and they've been beaten in 3 finals. They're up there probably with Munster and Toulouse in terms of the 3 teams with tradition, and they just seem to have a hard edge to them that they can go away from home and get results, and that's the big thing in Europe. You know, most teams are good at home, but Leicester have travelled. They beat Leinster in 2005. They're the only team who've ever beaten Munster in Thomond Park. They've gone to France and won, and they just have this hard-nosed edge about them. It's kind of been built from when Dean Richards was there, Martin Johnson, and now it's been followed through with Richard Cockrell. You know, one of the guys who was former member of the ABC club. Now he's heading up operations there.
What's the ABC club?
It was just the old. They used to have letters on their jersey, and the front row started with A, Loosehead Prop, and they only changed about 7-8 years ago. But they were just hard nosed. There was Graham Roundtree, Darren Garforth, and they beat teams up, you know, and Leo Cullen and Shane Jennings spent some time over there, and they just said, you know, the coaches aren't happy on Tuesday unless it's a full-on fight, and they bring that intensity to every game, and that's the kind of attitude you need to come away from home. So that's why they're so respected, I suppose.
How did Leo and Shane Jennings, how did they change when they came back from Leicester?
Well, they were always incredibly talented players. I think Shane went over there gifted. He was still is gifted, but he came back with a real hard nose, hard edge. You know, he went over there, and they were both astounded by the amount of physical fitness training sessions, all that kind of stuff that they got involved in over there. But yeah. Like Leo came back, a great leader. Geno as well is a great leader. So
they basically became hard asses, I think.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, you know, and you know, had they stayed at home, they probably could have been playing the odd game here, odd game there, and got disillusioned. But they came back and, you know, really brought a sense of drive and forwardness to Leinster.
Is that maybe something Leinster needed? And you know, it's no sin to steal from your opponents, to try and take 2 lads who did go away, absorb their culture, introduce parts of it back into Leinster.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we didn't have the right formula. You know, no matter how much talent Leinster had, we needed to change, I suppose. And you know, we got Leo and Shane Jennings back, and they brought that kind of, I suppose, culture of winning and doing enough to get results week in, week out, and I suppose being hard on ourselves at training. And then we had Rocky came in, and, you know, he obviously brought a huge impact as a player, but also off the field he was very good. You know, ideas he had about lineouts and how we should train. I suppose we've been very lucky that we've played with guys like that who've added to the whole thing, and now there's a really good culture of winning in Leinster, you know, and we've changed that. Munster had it, we had to get it, and we have it now.
It's funny actually, because we actually lost to Leicester in 2006. That was the year both Shane Jennings and Leo went, and they came back then 3 years later, and then we ended up winning the Heineken Cup a season later.
Yeah, so,
you know,
not a coincidence.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, that's it. You know, but yeah, as I said, what Leicester have is a lot of tradition, big culture, work ethic, and they're some of the key attributes to being a successful side. And the difference, I'd say, between 2006 Leinster and 2010 Leinster, or 2011 Leinster, is that they also have those attributes. You know, there's a great work ethic. There's a great culture there now, and you know, tradition there now is of winning.
Okay, so effectively the advantage that Leicester had in terms of tradition and culture has now been, that gap has closed between the two sides. And
well, certainly Leinster have brought their own tradition anyway and culture to it, you know, so it's going to be a great mix.
Is it a straight,
fight, you know?
Then when you are saying that you think Leinster are going to win, is it home advantage that gives them the slight advantage, or is it just they've got better players?
Yeah, well, I think Leicester have an incredible record of away victories. I think it's almost up as high as 50% in Heineken Cup. So, of all the teams that you can't rely on home victory or the home venue to be the defining factor is Leicester. Like, so, I think there's going to be Leinster are going to have to bring their A game. They're going to have to really look to put out that kind of performance like against Claremont, where we see total rugby style of game. Like that is what Leinster is about. It's not about sitting back and holding on to a lead like we saw against Munster in the second half, where Leinster kind of just were prepared to absorb. They can't afford to be prepared to absorb. They need to play attacking rugby. Like Leicester will be incredibly tough. They play a power game. They take them on up front, just like Munster do. And if we are prepared to sit back and rest on a one try lead or what have you, then we could be in trouble.
Yeah,
I think the game last weekend actually is going to be a key part. How Leinster was seeing how Munster got at them in that second half through the pick and go game, and Leicester would watch that as well. So being forewarned is forearmed, and that will not happen again. I mean, Leinster would meet those guys.
You say that, but what's to stop it happening again? So
the fact that they've seen how they could have a brilliant first half performance, and then how they lost the game, lost momentum through not being accurate in terms of their body position, in terms of aggression around the fringes. So I mean, this week that's just going to be drilled, and Mal will tell you, when you drill something all week and you know that this Saturday, a pressure environment like this, if you don't have like a Heineken Cup quarter final against Leicester, if you're not right in that area, you will lose. With a team with the talent Leinster have, they will go and do that then. I think that if they had coasted in the second half, they had went on and finished the game against Munster like they had the first half and maybe won by 20 odd points. I don't think that would have been as beneficial as actually what happened. They will get confidence from how they were so accurate in the first half, but also then we realise, okay, Leicester teams like the bully teams.
Yeah.
Munster bullied us a little bit in the second half. They got momentum. We couldn't stop them because we were sloppy in terms of our fringe defence, and they'll be ready for that this week. But I think the reason Leinster will win is that I think Leicester will fall into the trap of trying to bully Leinster, and I think that if you look at that's the way to do it. And I think look at Leo, look at Sean O'Brien, look at Heaslip, all that pack won't be bullied, but also like Tulagi, he's one of their main players at the moment, and he runs over people in the centre. But how many people have tried to run over Darcy and O'Driscoll? I mean, and
Bar Rougerie,
okay, fair enough. But he's not playing. Darcy won't be happy with that. But
sorry, Darcy.
they generally they're watertight, and I just think that Leicester will try that. They'll fail. And also Tulagi, he's young, he's naive in defence, like Sean Happy was for England, and that we'll pick them off.
As well.
And Banaham as well, and Leinster will pick them off. They'll do their homework. The set piece try they scored against Munster, that was out of the video analysis room. They will find ways of finding holes in that Leicester defence.
All right, lads, we'll get more memories from the two lads about their specific game, the one that they'll remember for the rest of their lives, the Heineken Cup final against Leicester. A Leicester side which contains many of the same lads who'll take the pitch this weekend as well. You can get that on Heineken.ie. There's loads more to come from this Heineken Cup preview show.